What is up YouTube, and welcome back to the second video in the two-part series about recovery. In this one I'm going to talk about the four major components that makes up our recovery, which is sleep, diet, hydration and stress management. We're going to be starting out by looking at sleep and diet, but for every one of them I'm going to address what is good sleep, for example, what is a good diet, what is good hydration, and what is good stress management. And then I'm going to talk about why it is important. So let's get started. So what is good sleep? Good sleep, first of all, obviously require enough sleep. Usually something around 8 to 9 hours would be a good place to start, aiming to get 8 hours of sleep. But it doesn't only depend on how much sleep you get, it also depends on the quality of sleep. So you need to sleep at the right time and also at a consistent time. If you go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time consistently, that will make for a better uninterrupted sleep overall, where you get more deep and REM sleep, which is where your memories really consolidate and you are really just in a more restful mode. Deep sleep and REM sleep, REM sleep means rapid eye movement, which is the best state of sleep that we can be in. So another important thing is limiting screen time at night. That is because screens have the ability, for example, like the sun, where we think that it's daytime. So we want to limit, especially blue light is something we want to try to minimize at night. So by turning off the TV, turning down the lights in your light bulbs, things like that. Also, sleeping at the right temperature is a huge one, because when we are falling asleep, we want our body to cool down. So somewhere around 19 degrees Celsius is around where you want to sleep. If you are sleeping at a higher temperature than that, your body will need to do more work in order to cool down, and it can be a harder time for you to fall asleep and stay asleep. After that, we have sleeping in a dark room, which obviously gives up itself, you want it to be dark when you're sleeping, and you also want there to be little to no noise, preferably obviously no noise at all, because that is going to make it easier for you to fall and stay asleep. Also, don't train too close to sleeping, because training increases cortisol levels, any physical activity, anything that stresses us, as I talked about in the previous video, increases our cortisol levels, which makes it harder to fall asleep. And lastly, don't drink or eat too late. What I mean by that is too close to falling asleep. Again, because the body will need to spend digesting food, increases body temperature on the inside. So we want to digest our food before we fall asleep, because otherwise our body needs to work on that and cool it down, etc., and it becomes harder to fall asleep. And also, drinking too late will mean that we have to wake up during the night and go to the bathroom to pee, and therefore our sleep becomes interrupted. Now, why is all of this important? What exactly does a good sleep do to us? Let's take a look at that. So, in terms of training, it will allow us to recover faster. So after we have had an intense training, if we are getting enough sleep, can basically shorten the length of the SRA curve, stress recovery adaptation curve, so that we can repeat that same intense training earlier on than if we were only getting less sleep. So it also increases our baseline faster, so we can reach a higher potential when we are getting enough sleep. It increases force output, because basically our muscles recover. We'll see that certain functions in our body are able to catch up, stuff like that, and we will have faster, better force output. It will also give us faster reactions. And then a big one is better memory. and ability to learn, also like problem solving skills, creativity and so on. So for example, let's say you're learning a hard skill like handstand. You'll also see that actually studies have shown that just after getting a nap, like if the skill will be improved because we are consolidating those memories of how we want to kick up in a handstand, stuff like that. In the same way, strength training, when we are training with good form by getting enough sleep or and getting naps, stuff like that, after sleeping, we will consolidate like how our body, like how we want our body to move, and it will remember that for the next time and have a easier time doing that, and we will have better form in our squat if we were training with a good form. If we were training with a fucking shit form, our body will remember that and we'll just like keep a terrible form. Another thing is decreased mortality, and that is because like when we sleep a lot, we will have like things like better digestion, our heart rate will decrease. We will see a lot of diseases, like the risk of a lot of diseases will disappear or just decrease by a huge amount. We will also see that our cortisol levels decrease drastically, and we have time to like break down like different like minerals, stuff like that, and yeah, and vitamins, things like that. Make use of those and get those into the blood, things like that. And lastly, like decreased stress, more energy, and increased focus. So I already mentioned that a little bit, but basically like you'll be more focused, have like more ability to like get more shit done throughout the day when you are getting more sleep, things like that. You'll feel less tired throughout the day. So now, diet. What is a good diet? So a good diet in terms of calories, which is basically just your fuel. I'm also going to dig deep into vitamins and minerals, but calories are also known as macronutrients. And the amount of calories you want is just dependent on your goal. So do you want to lose weight? Let's say you're a bodybuilder and you need to get ready for a competition, you want to eat less. If you're someone trying to move up a weight class, you want to eat more, obviously. So, like general guidelines, you want to eat 90% whole foods. That is because these are full of vitamins and minerals, and you want these in your diet, which we're going to talk about. Why is it that we want those? Then avoid sugar from cake and sweets. So this is a huge one. We want to avoid white sugar, refined sugar, and it's okay to get fructose and like gluten, things like that, stuff like that, of like carbs from rice, wraps, pasta, bread, things like that. But we want to avoid like white sugar, like really like refined sugar from cakes, from sweet stuff like that, because it's basically empty energy that our body has no use for, apart from like training. But if you're someone that is not working out, you don't need all of those empty calories, and it's just going to cause a huge spike in blood levels and increases in like chances of getting what do you call it? I forgot the name for it, like diabetes. Yeah, so it increases your chances of getting diabetes, of course, if you're not using all of that sugar that you get. And the other thing is to avoid omega-6 from fast food and fried food. I've talked a lot about this before, especially on Instagram in some posts that I made there, because I think this is a really big problem. If we look at the omega-6 to omega-3 ratios, it used to be 4:1 back in the days, but nowadays, because there's so much such a big consumption of fast food and fried food, chips, stuff like that, where we're using all of these plant oils, high fructose, syrup, stuff like that, we'll see that this rate is now up to like, ratio is now up to like 25:1 or more. It's in some Western countries, likely US. And that is a problem because omega-6 basically causes inflammation, while omega-3 reduces inflammation. And we want some inflammation, like we want it to be between around a 4:1 ratio is the most optimal ratio to be in. We want inflammation because if we don't get inflammation, like we want inflammation when we have trained and stuff like that, or when an injury comes, we want it, like, you need inflammation to come in order for it to begin repairing, stuff like that. We want blood to come to the injured muscle or whatever is going on. But we also want omega-3 in order to recover from that, so too much inflammation will lead to various heart diseases and so on. Also, so what are the foods that I would advise eating? So if you are managing to get eggs, meat, fruit, vegetables, rice, wraps or pasta and fish consistently, then I think that you are really well put, because these are foods that are high in vitamins and minerals, and will make sure you're getting everything that you need. And yeah, so if you're getting them and at a decent amount, then you're going to make sure that you are healthier than 95% of, or probably 99% of people out there, and at the same time avoiding sugar from cake and sweets and too much fast food and fried foods. So why is a good diet important? First of all, when it comes to training, it will increase recovery because we need these nutrients, for example, like protein, to be able to grow our muscles. We need carbs to fill up our glycogen stores to replenish them faster and be able to perform with maximal force output again. And we also need fat for certain functions in our body. So we will see an increase in performance because of that, especially like, for example, enough carbs before training, like big training will mean that we are able to stay for longer, stuff like that. You'll see that if runners or cyclists, they don't get enough carbs, they run out of energy and basically, just go cold. Also, vitamins and minerals serve functions in the body, all the things that relate to sleep, for example. So it's important for many things in the body in terms of digestion, energy, stuff like that, how our body heals our wounds, like so many things in the body, like cheese, stuff like that, our hair even. So there are so many reasons why you need to get the minerals and the vitamins. If you're deficient, you will start seeing an increase in a lot of diseases and so on. And also, generally physical and mental well-being, I like to say that the macronutrients, so just the meat, stuff like that, increases for physical well-being, or actually the macronutrients, so protein, carbs and fat are for physical well-being, because those will determine how well you can perform physically. But the micronutrients, so the vitamins and the minerals, are going to determine how you're feeling mentally, how your body is on the inside, and how your mind is functioning, stuff like that. So that's all for the sleep and the diet. Now let's take a look at hydration and stress management. If every one of you watching could quickly do me a favor, that would mean the world to me. For me to be able to continue putting out videos like this and improve the quality and time put into future videos, that requires your help. So if you can either leave a like or a comment on a video, subscribe to the channel, or share my work with a friend, that would be hugely appreciated. For now, back to the video. For the last part of the video, guys, I'm going to talk about the importance of good hydration and good stress management. But first of all, what is good hydration? Good hydration means that we are getting enough water. Enough water is going to depend on first the weight of yourself. The more you weigh, obviously, the more water you'll require, but it's also going to depend on your activity level and the conditions you are in. If it's warmer, you're going to need more water, and if you're physically active, you're also going to need more water. The same goes for minerals, or what is also called electrolytes, the minerals that we need to like that are coming out when we are sweating. So we need to replace them through hydration. So that's going to be sodium, chloride, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus. And these are important because we need to replace them because they are responsible for certain things that we basically need, like together with our water, that I don't know exactly like in depth, but I just know that if we don't get them, we will see like certain things not working properly, decrease in performance, dizziness, like headaches, stuff like that. Now, why is good hydration important? First of all, it enhances physical performance because when our muscles and basically everything within our body needs water in order to perform optimally. So, like when you're sweating, or when you're training, the body basically it heats up, so it begins to like the water comes to the surface of our skin, and obviously we need to basically replenish that water, especially actually the better shape you're in, the more you're gonna sweat, so the more water you're probably gonna need during a workout. If you're not getting enough water, you'll see a decrease in performance and your muscle's ability to produce force. It is especially important during like what do you call it, endurance workouts where we are working for a long amount of time and are working at high intensity. So you're gonna sweat much less when doing something like powerlifting compared to running a marathon in the heat. So there's a big difference. So doing a marathon, you want to replenish your hydration. Like you want to do that throughout that, but it's not going to be necessary for maybe if you're doing it like instead of some sets of three on the squat where you're not doing a huge amount of work for a long time or for a long duration. Next up, it also flushing bodily waste. It will help in terms of stuff like inflammation, things like that. Lubricating joints is a really important one because like we can't really get many nutrients there, so we need the water in order to like bring nutrients, stuff like that with the blood. And also it decreases temperature regulation, which is basically when we are sweating, it's a way for our body to cool down. So that is, if we don't have like enough water, like our body is not going to be able to obviously like sweat because there's no water. So we need that in order to be able to cool down and temperature regulate. Now, what is good stress management? So this relates a lot to the sympathetic and parasympathetic states that I've talked about. And good stress management is a lot of things that are in the parasympathetic state, but it's because it means getting rid of the stress that we have gotten from working hard, an exhausting workout, a huge workload, whatever it might be that's stressing us out, putting us in danger, things like that. And on top of this, I'm going to put meditating because I think it's just extremely important. It's a good way to just really calm down and focus on your breath and everything that is going on, and basically just really calm down your central nervous system because that is one of the biggest things that takes a long time to really calm down, especially with years of hard training. It can really easily get overworked and meditation is a really good way to do so. Now another big one is time management. So especially not postponing tasks. So getting things done on time and not letting things really stack up, but also not taking on more than you can handle, so that you don't feel overwhelmed and like you have to get shit done like in a really tight schedule. So another thing, a really important one, not worrying about things you can't control. So, for example, like you don't have to worry about what the hell is going on in Russia or in Israel. Like it's not something you can control. So there's really no need to actually worry about it at all. You're better off focusing on your own difficulties that you're having and things you need to improve on. Limiting social media time. So this is something that I'm really working on myself because I think social media is just like really like a draining place and takes a lot of energy, and a lot of the stuff is here and there is not really important because you already know many of the things and what you have to work on. So you're just really wasting your time, and it can also put a lot of pressure on you in terms of feeling like you have to live up to certain standards that are not possible, especially nowadays when everything is edited with AI and stuff to make people like a lot of people don't look the way they are, but it's really like edited and really exaggerated, oversaturated. And then lastly, obviously, sleeping enough is just most likely the best thing in terms of stress management because you forget everything that is going on throughout the day, you wake up totally replenished with good focus after a good night's sleep. Now, why is it important? First of all, good stress management obviously reduces stress, which will help us reduce recovery time from training, so it will shorten the SRA curve and make us able to return to training a lot faster. So after a hard training, if you can manage to get into that parasympathetic state really fast, then you will be able to start the recovery process and relaxation a lot faster and begin to really build up, and it might go from 4 day recovery period to 3 days. So you can either train after 4 days but train harder, or you can train after 3 days at the same intensity or with the same workload if that's what you desire. It also reduces temper, which is a really huge one. So you're a lot less likely to really get upset over things and get into discussions and conflicts with other people. And lastly, increases physical and mental health. You'll see your injury risk, stuff like that, decrease. You'll see your chance of health diseases like decrease by a huge amount, but you'll also see that you're feeling more energized, more focused, things like that. Like you have a lot more energy, which is because your brain is working better. You have a lot better cognitive like skills, stuff like that. So basically, like all the four things, the stress management, hydration, sleep, and nutrition, they all basically aids in putting us into that parasympathetic state that we want to be in when we are looking to recover optimally. Like stress management is everything that is not related to basically sleep, nutrition, and hydration that we have outside of that, like spending time in nature and so on. But they all belong to the parasympathetic state that we want to try to be in when we are not like as people that are working out. And if that is our biggest goal, we want to be in a parasympathetic state as often as we can when we're not training. So that is a goal to bring ourselves there as fast as possible. That's also why I like not spending 3 hours in the gym talking to people, stuff like that, because you want to get home and just relax and replenish your energy after a big training session. So I hope that this two-part video series about recovery helped like answer some of the questions you might have about recovery or some of the things you may be unsure about, because I really feel like there's a lot of things that people don't know, and especially with the sympathetic and parasympathetic states and stimulation of those, why those are important to get both of them and really get that like super compensation going, where we need that like ability to handle sympathetic stress over time, so that we can while getting adequate parasympathetic stimulation, and over time we are able to handle more sympathetic stress and improve our baseline. So if you got something out of this and think like you have a friend or someone who would benefit from this, let them know. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you all for the next one. I'm out.